What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along. I promised you I'd be back at 8:30, and here I am at 8:29 because I owed you a minute from earlier on, so I'm back nice and early. Look, we're going to be talking about the usual bits and pieces tonight. We're going to be talking about Caicedo, and I'm going to tell you why not to get your hopes up. We're going to be speaking about LAVIA and the third bid that Liverpool are about to put in, and we're going to be asking a very valid question. Where's the money, John? Where's the money? Because I think it's fair at this point to say it's getting a bit frustrating to be a Liverpool fan, once again being lied to by the owners, once again telling us everything is in hand, only for us to see the transfer window start to pass us by week, day by day, as the opener against Chelsea comes closer and closer. But guess what? We haven't got a number 6. And guess what? Curtis Jones, very good young football player, but a number 6, he is not. And we need to get that sorted. So, my friends, how we doing? New shirt, yeah, the other one was stinking, man. I sweated like a mofo. So I needed to grab a shower, change shirt. Yeah, needed to do that from earlier on. So look, loads to get through. And trust me, it will be a mental next couple of hours. So much news breaking. I'm struggling to keep up with it at times. So let's reflect a little bit on Liverpool's performance earlier on against Bayern Munich. I'm not worried too much about the scorelines. Pre-season friendly, all you want is your players not to get injured and for it to be a good workout. And I think we can all agree that was the case. Good workout, but there were deficiencies. There were deficiencies that were very clear, and they were mainly in the centre of the park. Now, people are going to say, look, Robbo wasn't great, Gomez and Matip were pants, and you're right. But for me, a lot of these problems stem from the fact that teams are getting too much time to get their heads up. If they have time in the centre of the park and space and the quality that Bayern Munich have, eventually they're going to find those balls in behind, and that's why you need a number 6. And Curtis Jones deserves loads of credit for the progress he's made over the past few months. But I don't want to sit here and try to digest the fact that Curtis Jones could be shoehorned into a number 6. He is not a number 6. He is an 8, a 10, or a left-sided midfielder. But he is definitely not a defensive midfielder. And nor is it fair for him to be pushed into that position when it clearly isn't a position that gets the best out of his great attributes. Mark gifting an Anfield Agenda membership. Thank you, Mark. Very kind of you. That one has gone to Caicedo LFC. So I'm sure that'll be much appreciated. So look, talking about the goals today, people saying they're offside and all that stuff, it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we were exposed. We were exposed by balls in behind into the area that was supposed to be protected by Joel Matip, only for he hasn't got the pace to recover, so it doesn't work in the system. And in the second half, we were just ripped apart in the middle of the park because we gave them too much time and space. So we need to resolve this. And how do we resolve it? By buying a number 6. That's how we resolve it. So look, have we any people still optimistic in the chat? Are there any people that still think FSG have this in hand? Because I'm not one of those people. I really amn't. I've got every faith in Klopp. But what the hell is going on? What's going on? Like, let's be frank about this. It's nonsense. It's pathetic. And here we are, 2nd of August. Still, 2 signings. We've got rid of 4 times more players than we've signed. And this is the rebuild. Make it make sense. John Conway gifting an Anfield Agenda membership as well. John, thank you, mate. I'm stressed. I can't lie to you. You know, how many times do we have to penny pinch around the LAVIA deal? As an example. So we are going to go in with a third bid. But your guess is as good as mine as to what that third bid will be. Will it be £40 million and a packet of crunchies and, I don't know, a washed out Johnny? I don't know. But we know it isn't going to be what Southampton want. Now, Sasha Tavolieri has said that this is going to be Liverpool's final go at it, final bid. Let's hope it's a somewhat respectable one, because the last one was a bit of a joke. And it's getting to the point now where we just don't have time. Craig, going back from doing turf for 5 hours. Wow. I mean, that's a proper shift. It's so frustrating. It is so frustrating because we're supposed to be all hands to the pump. We're supposed to be leaving no stone unturned. And I know I sound like a broken record, but it's pathetic. Like, how are we in this position as a club? Colin Mayluff said, Good to see you again today. Hope your day's been good. Wanted your thoughts on Szoboszlai. Something about him makes me smile and get excited. Yes, there's a lot to admire about Szoboszlai. I still think he's a bit of work to do to really get up to speed in the system, but you know his attributes are clear for all to see. He's got a great eye for a pass. He's not shy about taking a shot either, and I think with him and Alexis McAllister eventually taking up those two number 10 positions, it's going to help us to defend from the front. You know, that's an important part of the system that we play with Klopp. And if you look today and you pick out any of the goals from the second half for Bayern, one thing you'll probably see in common is nobody pressing the ball. Bayern players in too much space. Liverpool turning over possession needlessly and then getting absolutely ransacked. How often is a simple ball over the top going to do us? You know, look at either half. Happens in both halves. One ball over the top, the whole defence is just left idle then. And look, fair play to the youngster at the end. Great strike from him, and I'm sure he'll remember that moment. But from our defensive position, it's just embarrassing. Mark saying thank you to everyone who joined the watch along as well. Thank you, Mark, for that. Craig, Mr. Watch Along, thoughts on the match today? I've gone through them, John. I'm glad McAllister isn't injured. Let's start off with that one because that was the big worry. For those of you who weren't with us for the watch along, right at the end of the first half, Alexis McAllister collided knees, I think it was, with one of the Bayern players, and he went down and eventually got back to his feet and he went off at half time. But thankfully, that looks like it's just a little knock and he should be fine. So, not too bad on that one. I'm trying to find out the number of this third LAVIA bid. I have a few messages in trying to figure out the number, but I don't know it at the moment. But there is, I can confirm the third bid. That much I can agree with Sashi Tavolieri. I just don't have a number. Now he said, and I think some of this was lost in translation a little bit, so I'm going to read it out to you. 1 second, bear with me 1 second while I get my notes open here. Right, so this is exactly what he's written, and I'm going to give you my interpretation of it. He said, Liverpool FC ready to make a third and ultimate offer for Romeo Lavia. I think what he means by that is final offer. Sometimes, again, these things can be a little bit lost in translation. I understand the bid will meet the £40 million transfer fee expectations by Saints plus add-ons. Again, my interpretation of that is that the guaranteed money, the upfront money, will be at least 40 million with some add-ons on top of that. Player side are just waiting for Liverpool to activate but inform the club of his desire to join Liverpool. Like I've told you all along, he wants Liverpool Football Club. He's let Southampton know that. Let's just continue on with this. There's a feeling that Klopp's team are the only squad able to do such an offer at the moment, i.e. other clubs have basically other targets tied up. Dialogue remains open as Southampton won't let their biggest sale of the year and the financial impact of it with relegation fall away, basically. He says deal is still on. So hopefully this gets sorted very, very quickly because we've embarrassed ourselves enough in this transfer window. Go in, offer the 40 million and offer the add-ons that whatever they are, 3, 4, 5 million, I don't know. But get it done for the love of God. Because even at signing him, even at bringing in Romeo Lavia, we still have a lot of work to do in this window. We're going to be going into the opening game of the season. And even if Lavia was signed today, I don't see him being ready to play in the opening game against Chelsea. I don't think he'll be up to speed with the squad. So fully expect somebody like a Jones or somebody else to end up playing that position, which is pathetic. We shouldn't be in this position. Once we knew that Henderson and Fabinho were on the way out, this should have moved very quickly. And the fact that it hasn't is an indictment of a recruitment, unfortunately. Loan Southampton a player in cash, said Connor Mullen. I guess they'd have to want the player. And off the top of my head, I don't have a number. Or, somebody who could go down there and maybe Tyler Morton, perhaps. The end of the window is going to be crazy. Yeah, but it's pathetic. From our point of view, Noah, we don't... Look, other clubs who have more established squads might need a player or two. Yeah, you can maybe play with a transfer chicken. You can wait till the end of the window and see who blinks first. But we don't have that luxury because we are rebuilding an entire area of the pitch right now. And we've got 2 players in and thankfully they've had a good pre-season. But whoever we bring in now, the other midfielder or 2 midfielders, we're still going to be a bit short. And we're certainly going to be short in the opening day. Lavia should be half of 50 million. So, Ryan, I don't disagree that the prices and the numbers being mentioned are overpaying. It is. But what's the option here, Ryan? Liverpool either want the kid and go from, or they have to go elsewhere. And we've left it very late if we're going to do the going elsewhere part. And also, who would that be? Now, there's been a few little whispers that Real Madrid are willing to sell Tchouaméni if they have to get Kylian Mbappe. But, you know, that's a leap of faith for us to believe that Liverpool's owners are going to spend what is believed to be 80 million that Real would want. Outside of that, Amrabat could be either going to United or staying at Fiorentina, and he wouldn't be good enough to come in as the sole number 6. Tyler Adams looks like somebody's trying to trigger his £25 million release clause, but either way, he on his own wouldn't be good enough. And if we look at the Andre situation, well, it's either pay a lot of money to get him now, 40 million I think in euros, or pay 20 million and loan him back till January. So either way, that's not going to solve our problem right now, because we know our owners. There's no way they're paying a premium to get him now. There's no way they're paying 40 when they know the cheap fucks can have him for 20 in January. So I just don't see that happening either. What are your thoughts on the Andre links? He looks good, said CMG, and thank you for the super chat. Look, no problem with him. You know, get him. If he's somebody the club think are good enough, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've scouted him extensively. I haven't. But ultimately, I want who Klopp wants. And if Andre's one of the names on Klopp's list, then get him. Now, I do have a little bit of something on Gabri Veiga, because there's still more conversations that Liverpool could potentially go to buy this kid and loan him back to Celta Vigo. I mentioned to you guys, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that Liverpool had sent a representative over to speak with Rafa Benitez about the young man. Now, he wants to play. That's important for any move for Gabri Veiga. And nobody can offer him that in the Premier League, really. Nobody in the top 6 could offer him a guarantee of football. So, according to this report, and I don't know how true this is, Liverpool are weighing up the opportunity to buy him and loan him back for the season. Again, it doesn't help us right now, and we need help right now. And also, he's the wrong type of position that we need, so I'm confused. Matt Job, thank you, buddy, said, "Hi Craig, watch the game and excited by the attack we have, but defensively woeful apart from Virgil. We need Lavia and a centre-back." Favourite YouTuber, by the way. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you. That feels weird when people say that to me, that I'm like the channel's their favourite or whatever, man, but I appreciate it. I think everything you've said there makes sense. I think most of us in the chat will agree with you. We were woeful defensively. It's a very valid point. Like you, I'm over the moon with our attack. We look really sharp. The opening goal we scored, the movement from Cody Gakpo and the 1-2 we played with Jota was exquisite. Darwin, a little bit wasteful at one point, probably could have scored a second. But ultimately, look, it's grand. We're doing all right. I mean, our second when I said a second, sorry. How long will it take to get a player up to speed if they come in the last week of the window, said Lance. We can't wait on Real Madrid any longer. I guess the answer to that question, Lance, is that it depends on the player, and it depends on what shape they come in, and it depends on what system they're coming from. So with Romeo Lavia, I mean, you would say we could probably get him up to speed a little bit quicker than somebody coming from a foreign league, as an example. So, but even at that, I don't think any of us would feel really comfortable going into that Chelsea game and dropping Lavia straight in there without any experience for us. Now, if you got him in quickly, could he do something in the game on Monday against Darmstadt? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Kieran Mullen, thank you. How many more signings do you think we need to bring in? So, it's a great question, and it's a question, Kieran, I will happily answer, my friend, but I'd like to put it to the chat as well. So, how many players do I think we need to sign? 3 more for me, Kieran. 2 midfielders and a centre-back. And I think that that's me being reasonable, by the way. You could make a valid argument for 2 midfielders, a centre-back and a right-back. You could make a valid argument for 2 midfielders and 2 centre-backs. And I would think you've got a point. So, me, 3 more minimum. 2 of them in midfield and 1 in defence. Look, let's be frank about this. Joel Matip is not good enough anymore. Joe Gomez, I have a soft spot for Joe to some extent, because I know he's been through a lot. I know he's worked very hard. But ultimately, I don't feel comfortable if something happened to Ibrahima Konate that Joe Gomez would come in alongside Virgil van Dijk and be the centre-back pairing. I don't feel comfortable with that. And nothing that I've seen this pre-season makes me feel that way. Now, I feel a little bit more comfortable at Joe Gomez maybe covering at right back. Maybe that's just me. But we're just sitting on our hands. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no common sense as to why this has taken so long. It's pathetic. I know I keep using that word, but it is pathetic. So I'm looking through all the comments here in the chat. I mean, it ranges from 3, some say 2, couple of 5s in there, but I think the majority of you guys are saying that we need to sign 3 players. You know, I think that's fair. And that's a bare minimum, by the way. You know, this isn't 3 players and we should be grateful. This isn't 3 players and let's all bow down at the altar of FSG. This is bare minimum stuff we're talking about. Just to get us into a position where we can dream about actually having a pop of the league or maybe pushing Manchester City a bit. This isn't like get these signings and then we're guaranteed to win the league. Like, this is playing catch up already. Shout out from Hot Phoenix, Arizona. Do you know, Kevin, I was watching the other day, and I hope you're all safe and well over there, by the way, Kevin. I was watching about the heat in Arizona the other day, mate, and it looked frighteningly warm at times. So I hope that you're all inside, air conditioning, drinking plenty of water, and all safe and well. We should sign Lavia, Hanko, and a player who can play DM and CM. Look, here's a valid question that I want to put back to you guys. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to rant and I'm going to moan and I'm going to do all the things that I normally do when I'm talking about the owners and their transfer business. But here's a fair question. Is there anybody in the chat who can give me a valid reason why this transfer business has dragged on as long as it has? Sincere question. I'm not trying to be a smart ass. Like, the 2 we got done, brilliant. We need to get them in. But everybody knew what was happening. I told you guys a month ago that Fabinho was going to be of interest to Saudi and an offer was coming in. The Henderson stuff, look, that came up and it happened, but we knew very quickly that Hendo wanted out as well. So the club have had a lot of time to act on the situation as it presented itself. And let's not forget, 18 months beforehand, eyeing up central midfielders and who we need to bring in. So it doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't, other than saying that something's happened, that Schumacher ain't up to it, or the budget is a lie, or I don't know, something that we don't know about. But I'm really worried. Sick of Klopp needs players. We can go into the season with 10 out and what? Sick of FSG. I missed the first part of that, and that makes it far more truthful. Sick of FSG, said Craig Holden. Klopp needs players. We can't go into the season with 10 out and 2 in. And you're absolutely spot on. It's an absolute joke. Whitehammer. We are an absolute mess. No money. Trent can't defend, so just let him not bother defending. Nunes is so inferior to Gakpo, but costs a fortune. So, not a week ago, there was people ripping me apart for my criticism of Trent last year. There was people in the chat laughing at me, telling me how I was absolutely deluded. And I stand by everything I said. Trent was horrendous back then. Look at that game against Real Madrid at Anfield and tell me that he even tried. But I'm happy to give Trent the opportunity because he looks serious. He's come back. But he is not a number 6 on his own. We need somebody who's going to break up play, somebody who's going to read the game, somebody who's going to go in there and just get the ball and give it to Trent, or get the ball and give it to McAllister. We need that destroyer. We need that athletic, physical specimen of a man. If that's Romeo Lavia, then so be it. Get it done. We're once again in a situation where after all this time and after all this preparation and after all the talk about how we couldn't get Jude Bellingham because we needed to keep, our cloth cut accordingly to go out there and really fill these positions. And yeah, here we are. And we've said this many times, 8 out, 2 in. 8 players left, 2 players in. And that's the rebuild. That's John W. Henry giving a war chest to Jurgen Klopp to compete with Arsenal, who are going out there, by the way, to drop 40 million on a keeper to back up their other keeper for a bit of competition. And that's on top of Jurrien Timber, Kai Havertz, the business they did in January as well. Declan Rice coming in, just a mere 105 million there. And we're here talking about a net spend so far of about 40 million quid in the big rebuild, the war chest. Oh, and shock horror, the investment that we've been promised all along, that hasn't shown up yet. Why is that? Because it'll happen after the window closes, of course, so FSG can lie to us again and go, yeah, that investment, that's coming. That's coming, and when that investment comes, you won't believe the money we'll have. But the can's being kicked down the road yet again, and we're here like fools waiting for transfers to happen so we can dream about Liverpool actually competing. Penny pinching by FSG, said Charles. Old man Digu, thank you, mate. Said, love the show. Let's be honest, FSG won't pay. Yeah, they're pathetic. And I've said this relentlessly on this channel, that FSG are spoofers, FSG are charlatans, FSG are pathetic. But, you know, there are people who wanted to be optimistic. There are people who wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I have to understand that, of course. I just never believed it. I never believed that they were going to actually stump up the money. War chest is more like a matchbox. Like, look, let's be realistic about it. We brought in very good money for Fabinho. And it should have been a no-brainer to just go and pay Southampton what they wanted. If they wanted 45, pay it. You got 40 million quid for Fabinho, who's not worth 40 million quid. But we got it. We got 12 million quid for Henderson. Now look, you lose your captain, it has a big impact. But it won't really have that much of an impact for minutes on the pitch because he wasn't going to play that much probably. So we brought in a shit ton of money. And yet again, we're sitting around waiting for something to happen. And our manager's coming out and you can see the frustration. I know he's been upbeat, but you can see that he wants players. So who's doing what? What's Schmadtke doing? What's the rest of the recruitment team doing? Who have they been looking at and why is it taking so long? These are questions that I think every Liverpool fan deserves an answer to. Why have we got no centre-back in? Why are we not putting in bids for centre-backs? What are we at? What are we at? We need a centre-back. The targets that we've been looking at for the past, year? What have you done? Not even a bid, not one, for a centre-back. Oh, we're waiting for Colwill. Okay, well, he's going to stay at Chelsea, so next. No, well, we'll get the usual nonsense. The one we wanted wasn't available. I mean, for the love of God. Mo T said, why not get Thuram? He's a solid CM that's even cheaper than Lavia. Mohamed Simkis is a good backup. Why not invest in him? Love from Michigan. Mo, why can't we get both, mate? And I agree, I'd love Thuram to come in. And I feel like Thuram's chomping at the bit to come and play as well. I'd love Thuram to come in. Go get him and get Lavia. And then we've boxed off midfield and then we can have a talk about this centre-back situation. So I'm right with you, Mo. 100%. And lots of love back over to Michigan, pal. Thank you for your super chat. Sell Nunez, compare with Mane, he's very bad, overrated. What? That's just not true. Like, if you brought this up, by the way, so Oscar, bear with me. You said compare him with Mane. Okay, first season at Liverpool, Sadio Mane, 14 goals. Darwin Nunez, first season at Liverpool, how many goals? That's right, 14. Sadio didn't work out too badly, did he? I don't remember people telling us Sadio had failed. There's this mad agenda against Darwin Nunez, and I don't get it. I don't get it. So no, we don't sell Darwin. We keep Darwin. We've given him the number 9. We fill him full of confidence, and we send him out to tear up the Premier League. What centre-backs do I suggest? Truly, Nigel, I really don't know because I don't know the attributes Klopp's looking for. So we know we need a left-sided centre-back. Doesn't necessarily have to be a left-footed centre-back, but ideally we need somebody to play alongside Canade or to replace Virgil van Dijk when he needs a rest. So based off that, you see the ones we've been linked with. You see the Mickey van de Ven. You see Inacio. Colwill obviously was understandable, but we weren't getting him. Gvardiol's going to Manchester City. They've just got that deal pretty much agreed. So truth is, mate, I don't know. I don't know what centre-back to get, but I know sitting around and not bidding for anybody isn't going to get it sorted. Funny thing is, Fabinho even paid for a midfielder. Exactly. Macaulay, we've basically got the opportunity to get Lavia by the money we got for Fabinho. And we're still nickel and diming over it. We're still penny pinching. Bastoni's another decent shout. Very difficult to get him out of Inter, I would suggest. But certainly the calibre of player, Luke, we could be talking about. Dreaming of waking up and seeing Tchouaméni signed, said Colin. And so am I. And I was reading a piece earlier on, I think it was El Nacional, bear with me. Right, I'm going to read this out. So, Arlie and Tchouaméni asking price. The Reds have been handed a boost should they have eyes on Real Madrid star man Arlie and Tchouaméni. Via El Nacional, Los Blancos face the problem of having to move some squad members on so they can afford to bring in Kylian Mbappe. They write that even if Tchouaméni continues to enter Carlo Ancelotti's plans, he is completely dispensable and the Real Madrid would look to recoup the 80 million odd they paid for him. So, test the water. Test the goddamn water. You know Klopp wants Tchouaméni. Apparently, our tight-fisted owners were willing to buy him once upon a time. Well, if he's available for the money Real Madrid pretty much paid for him, or even if there's a possibility he's available, make a bid. Try and do something. Try and get this wheel moving. Because we'd all love him. We'd all love him. Every single one of us here, I'm guessing, would absolutely love to sign Arlie and Tchouaméni. And we know Jurgen Klopp wants him. In fact, Jurgen Klopp wanted him longer than Bellingham, pretty much. Or at least on a par with Bellingham. Right, I've just got to remove somebody from the chat. One sec. Thoughts on Alan Varela as a central back option? I've no idea who he is, Alex. Sorry, man. I wish I could give you a better answer than I don't. Tchouaméni would be an incredible signing. Yes, Tchouaméni didn't want to come. Granted, no argument with that, Revanite. Tchouaméni wanted to go to Real Madrid. He made that clear from the get-go. But if Real Madrid want to move him on and Real Madrid are potentially willing to sell him, surely we got to try. What's the news on Caicedo, said Zed Clear. So, look, there's been a couple of mixed reports on Caicedo. So let me take you through them and then we'll try and figure out who's telling porkies and what's true. So, starts off with Ben Jacobs. Ben Jacobs earlier on said, Moises Caicedo's camp have been told by Brighton an 80 million plus bid surpassing Chelsea's rejected offer from an unnamed entity or whether the offer is real. However, contrary to some reports, he believes it is at Liverpool. But Sky Sports have gone with a bit of a different angle. Sky Sports have said that they believe an unnamed Saudi club has put in an offer for Caicedo. Again, a little bit at odds with what Ben Jacobs said, but does tally to an unnamed club making an offer. But Ben Jacobs did say it was a Premier League club, albeit not Liverpool. So then we have Football Insider, who claim Liverpool are the unnamed club and have come forward with the bid as Chelsea face competition for the player. I don't believe for 1 second that Liverpool's owners are going to pony up 80 or 100 million quid for Caicedo. I don't see it happening. But again, I'm just taking you through it as we got the information today. And then Sky Sports, as I said, were the last ones to come in. So that's where we're at the minute. 1 sec. Sorry, I'm just clearing up my dashboard here. Craig, should we blame these so-called Liverpool journalists for giving us hope for having big summer rebuild? So, LFC Spectre, I'm going to be blunt, right? I'm absolutely fed up of these brown noses of FSG. that profess to be all about Liverpool Football Club. They write for Liverpool Football Club. They write on behalf of fans. They talk on behalf of fans. They produce content on behalf of fans, and yet stick the knife in the fans' back by absolutely brown-nosing the owners and not having the balls to call them out for the absolute shenanigans that we see unfold season after season, summer after summer, window after window. But you know why they do it, right? Because they get access, they get interviews, they get tickets, they get to go on all the little club jaunts around. So really, you know, you can join these dots yourself. It's embarrassing. And that's the beauty of what we do here. We're not withholding to anybody. I don't give a shite what John W. Henry thinks of me. Couldn't care less. I want the honest truth. I want fans to get what we were asking for. I want fans to go into this season believing that we've a genuine chance, that we've a group of players and owners that actually give this manager, a once-in-a-generation manager, the opportunity to succeed. Otherwise, what's the point of giving him a new contract? What's the point in keeping Klopp here till 2026 if you're making him work with his hands tied behind his back yet again? Like, this is clear and obvious. It happens every single window. Rinse and repeat. The same crap. Promises before the window. Getting close to the window, the excuses start. During the window, we get a signing or two. Then it drags on a little bit. Then we start hearing these talks about transfer targets not being available, or money not being there, or Liverpool having to wait on something, or the investment being close but not quite there yet. It doesn't happen. We get another window ends. We're frustrated. We attack each other. They sail off into the sunset. Rinse and repeat, and we go again. Every single goddamn window. And yeah, some people actually have the cheek to say that they represent fans. Some people actually have the cheek to pretend like they're not cowards, like they're not absolute brown nosers that don't have the cojones to call this stuff out. But I'm an embarrassment. People call me an embarrassment. If I'm an embarrassment, at least I'm trying. At least I'm being honest. At least I can look in the mirror and know that I'm saying these things because I want the best for a football club. Not the best for me, not the best for my bank balance, the best for my goddamn mental health as I watch Liverpool go through another campaign where we will be found short yet again. And not because Klopp isn't good enough, or not because the players aren't good enough, because FSG have ran every ounce out of these lads, ran them into a brick wall while they wouldn't invest in midfield. They're the facts. Same old things. We keep hearing from these journalists. But yeah, I'm supposed to sit here and read and listen to this crap. And not have an opinion on it. You know, I'm not going to call out names because you know who it is. You know who the cowards are. I mean, the Echo are an absolute joke. Let me say that I don't have anything against any particular journalist that writes for the Echo because I don't know any of them. But as an outlet, as a media company, as a brand, they're a joke. They just spin waffle. And then they have the cheek to write article after article telling us how brilliant and clever FSG are. How genius they are for all of these fantastic corporate deals that they've done. And how the magnificent Danny Road end means we should all worship at the altar according to John W. Henry. Truth is, John W. Henry's a spoofer. John W. Henry has no more interest in Liverpool actually being competitive than I do about going out and growing my hair into a pair of dreadlocks or a set of dreadlocks. It's just... I'm trying not to curse. I'm trying not to curse. And look, is there anybody who disagrees with me? Is there anybody who thinks I'm just losing the plot? Because people think I love to just moan. I truly don't. I don't like giving out. I want to talk about tactics. I want to talk about the first game of the season against Chelsea. I want to talk about how we implement these new players into the squad. I want to talk about fun stuff. But I'm not going to just turn a blind eye to it. I'm not going to just not call it out because it's easier not to. Don't worry, Kabak will return on deadline day. See, that's the most frustrating part of it all. It's like we have form and history has taught us what happens if we don't do the business. So, as our friend has pointed out, we didn't get a centre-back in when we badly needed one. We ended up bringing in Ozan Kabak and Ben Davies, who never played a game. And basically, Ozan Kabak and Nat Phillips somehow had to be our centre-back partnership, and we scraped into the Champions League because of Alisson Becker's magnificent header against West Brom. And anybody with a rational brain would think, lesson learned. We won't be letting that happen again. Not us, though. Fast forward a couple of seasons, we have a midfield crisis that Stevie Wonder could have seen coming. Anybody could have told our team that we were going to have a problem in midfield because we didn't have the numbers. We didn't have the availability. And what were we told? One, by Jurgen Klopp, you're all wrong. We don't need a midfielder. We were also told, how can we improve? How can we improve on the attributes of the players at Liverpool? How can we improve on Oxlade-Chamberlain? How can we improve on Naby Keita? Oh, I don't know. By having somebody that could actually play. Might be a start. But nobody could have foreseen that these lads would have been tired. Nobody could have foreseen that after playing an unprecedented amount of games the season before, after 4 or 5 years of running themselves ragged, that they might be, oh, I don't know, tired? Mentally fatigued? Physically wrecked? And what happens then? More injuries. Of course. Anybody with a brain cell knows that. But we were wrong until we weren't wrong. And then what happened? Arthur Melo happened. How did that work out? How did that 5 million you pissed up against the wall go on top of his wages? That's right. It didn't work. And it didn't work because, once again, the fans knew the real story. We needed a midfielder. Only this time, we didn't get to get out of jail free card. We didn't get to qualify for the Champions League. This time, we paid the price, which is to be in the Europa League. So, who's learning lessons? Who's responsible for this catastrophe after catastrophe? It's not rocket science. It's happened us twice. We've got away with it once, we haven't got away with it another time. And yet we haven't learned a lesson. We haven't gone out there and said to ourselves, no way we're letting this happen again. No way we're leaving until the last minute. We need Jurgen Klopp to have these boys back in pre-season, early and ready to go, to give us the best chance to try and steal a march on Manchester City, Arsenal and everybody else when the season starts. But no, not our owners. Once again, we're sitting here 2nd of August wondering, are we going to get the bare minimum? And then we're expected to be grateful for it. And if we're not grateful for it, well, Top Reds and a few other people tell us we're all spoiled or wolves or idiots or ungrateful or we don't know what we're talking about. Thing is though, we kind of do, and we've been proved right on many occasions. So start acting like you actually give a damn about the club. Start calling this stuff out on social media, and maybe, just maybe, the negative PR will force the tight gits into doing something. We need to revitalising like the winners do. Put the profits aside, as with the trophies comes the money, additional sponsors, etc., said my memories. And thank you for that, mate. Thank you for your super chat. We went and won the Premier League. We won the Champions League. And what's common sense when you win and you're on top? What do? You strengthen from a position of strength. You let the world know that you won a league title, you won a Champions League, and that's not enough. You want more. You want to build a dynasty. You want to strike fear into opposition. You want Pep Guardiola, and you want Mikel Arteta, and you want Eric Ten Hag shitting themselves at the idea of what Liverpool will do next. What did we do? Sepp van den Berg, Adrian, or somebody else unimportant, and I think one more signing, something pretty pathetic. Maybe it wasn't Adrian. It was Sepp van den Berg and some other non-plus signing. So, and here's the kicker. When we win stuff and we hear about all the TV money and the prize money and the sponsorship money, the next words out of those fucking spoofers' mouths are, wages, lads. We haven't got a pot to piss in because we have a high wage bill. But Manchester City just won loads of stuff and they're out there spending money on Guardiola and all. Why do they have money? Didn't get in the Champions League, lads. No money. But what about the years we were in the Champions League? Where was the money then? Wages. Okay, Arsenal are back in the Champions League for one season And they've already spent over 200 million. For one season. They're not even in it yet. Like, they think my biggest pet peeve with how we're treated as football fans, and this applies to every fan base, is we're spoken to like we're idiots. We're spoken down to like we're the bad child who's told to go sit in the corner, the grown-ups are talking, and you don't understand what's going on. We are constantly treated like fools. Swear Liverpool signed Thiago, Jota and Tsimikas summer they won the league. So I did mention 2 summers, mate. I did mention the season after the Champions League and the season after the Premier League. Now, granted, my memory of who was exactly signed after each of those probably a bit hazy. But there was one of those 2 successes that we did nothing after. And, you know, it could very well have been the Champions League. Is the news about the offer for Andre and Viega true? I don't know about the offer, but I can certainly confirm to you that Liverpool are eyeing a move for Andre. Don't know if this 20 or 40 million thing is true. Don't know if the bid will come or not. But Melissa Reddy is a very good journalist, and Melissa Reddy spoke about this a while back, and I believe that Liverpool are certainly looking at him. With regards to Gabri Viega, excuse me that I don't know off the top of my head which outlet said this, but somebody said Liverpool had sent a representative over to speak with Rafael Benitez. The players made it clear if he moves anywhere, he wants guaranteed football. Liverpool or top Premier League clubs aren't able to offer that. So Liverpool's apparent, and I have to say apparent because I don't know this as a fact myself, apparently Liverpool are willing to buy him and loan him back to Celta Vigo. That's what's being reported. I don't know if that's true or not. It was Adrian, Elliot and Sepp van den Berg. Yeah. Now, you know what I mean, Jack? If that's your summer after going and winning Europe's biggest competition, and remember, when you win the Champions League, other players around Europe are looking at what's going on and they're thinking, Liverpool, they're going places. They've been in Champions League finals recently. They've been pushing Man City in the Premier League. That's the time to strike. That's the time where your pulling power is at its very peak and you go out there and you reinforce this great club and you reinforce these signings with a couple of superstars. 1 or 2. Klopp himself, when he came in, said it is good to bring in 1 or 2 new players no matter what happens every season to refresh, increase competition, and it's healthy. But we didn't do it. Craig, wear an LFC top. No. I refuse to buy any of the overpriced crap that Nike are producing. So, not for me at this moment in time. I would rather burn €100 than pay it for a jersey that is completely overpriced. It's ridiculous. So, nah, my now is, I'm not giving them the money. Simple as that. One second. I just want to go through. Somebody asked me about Kessie. Right. So, on Frank Kessie, I'm going to report this because it's been written in the media. Please don't think I'm saying this because I don't know it to be true. But a Spanish outlet called Sport, who I'm sure you've heard of, have credited Liverpool with a possible move for Frank Kessie. I mean, it would be the height of stupidity if it's true, because, you know, if you really wanted Kessie, why didn't you get him when he was leaving AC Milan? But apparently Barcelona are willing to move him on. They've listed us as somebody who's interested. I don't know if it's true or not. White Hammer, thank you, mate. Craig, no matter what you say, we have no money. I mean, I feel like you're trying to blame me on that one. I mean, if we've got no money, it isn't my fault. And maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe you're trying to say you just never believed that FSG would pony up the dough. But somebody put something into our chat earlier on. I think it was Ryan. So if you're watching, Ryan, I'm trying to credit you. And he said that there are 17 Premier League clubs who've spent or who've signed more players than Liverpool in this window. 17. If that's the case, and I presume he's probably right. That is absolutely embarrassing. That the world knows Liverpool need a rebuild. The world knows this is the biggest summer since Klopp has been in because it's the big change. It's the second team coming through. And 17 clubs so far have signed more players than us in the Premier League. I mean, if I don't laugh, I'm going to cry. It's absolutely mental. Why are we so hopeless in the transfer market? The weird thing is, when we actually go to do it, we usually get it done. But the question I have is, what's taken all summer? Like, how can you go out there and get the two boys in early doors and then nothing? Like, nothing other than outgoings. It's like they forgot that we need players. How's McAllister? Thankfully, it sounds like the news is fairly positive there, Stanislav. It looks like he's going to be all right, and it was just a knock, thankfully. Yeah, I was worried. I won't lie, dude. When I seen him go down just before halftime, I was very concerned. Right, look, a couple of things before I keep going with tonight's stream. Don't forget, if you are in for the first time, please do hit that subscribe button. Drop a like on the video. And also, don't forget, you know what's coming now, right? Don't forget the old plug. Anfield Agenda this Friday, 2 days away in Dublin at the Sugar Club. If you want to come and see us, you can get your tickets at thesugarclub.com, or in the description of this stream, there'll be a link. You can click on that. It's an over 18s gig. Love to see you there. It's the first and only ever live show we're doing, so hopefully you can come along. If not, I hope you'll have a bit of fun anyway. I mean, the owners will make no money available. I thought that's what you meant, mate. I thought that's what you meant, Whitehammer. Whichever way we dress this up, mate, I don't understand how there can be anybody left that defends the owners. Even if this transfer window ends up with us getting the players we need in, it's still left a lot to be desired because it's dragged on and Klopp hasn't got time to work with them. And whatever way we look at it, we're not giving ourselves the best chance going into the season. Other squads may be able to bring in a player or two late because their need mightn't be as great as ours in specific areas. We have a whole new midfield to sort out, and we're reliant on kids at the minute. Or, you know, the two signings that we have brought in. And we know one of them going to pick up a knock at some point during the season. And we don't have a number 6. We don't have a number 6. Liverpool Football Club do not have a number 6. Let that sink in. Bajcetic is working his way back, and it should not be on him to be the solution at 17 or 18 years of age to the defensive midfield problem. We should be looking to gradually progress him in, give him Europa League minutes, and, you know, hope he continues his great development. Not putting the pressure on him to come in and be Fabinho's successor immediately. Craig, did you see the Anfield Agenda latest tweet? I don't have Twitter, mate. I don't have it on anything. Connor runs our social media, and our new guy in the background also does a bit as well occasionally on there. But yeah, I don't have access to any of our social media accounts outside of YouTube. They have a number 2, and that's them full of you know what. Yeah. Shite. Right, I'm going to hand it over to you guys now, and you let me know what you want to talk about. Any questions, put them into the chat. I'm going to spend the remainder of the stream, which is about 25 minutes or so, going through your thoughts and questions. Kirmani Jean said we need a left centre-back too. Nobody was excited for LAVIA when the news first broke. Now, due to FSG, LAVIA feels like a luxury. That is a very good comment, Devesh. Very good comment. And you're right. I've said this before. As a Liverpool fan, sometimes it feels like we've got PTSD, or we're like in an abusive relationship where we somehow start to feel grateful to our abusers. Now, I know that's a bit of a strange link to make, but I feel like at times we don't respond to things rationally, as fans should. We're like, oh, we're getting something. Isn't that better than nothing? No, it's not good enough. Injuries will hit and we shall have worse season than last season. Look, I would say on the injury front, if you look at the age profile of the team we have now and the minutes that they have on the clock, you'd probably edge to us probably not getting as many injuries, you know, because you've removed Chamberlain, Caicedo, you still got Thiago there, Henderson's gone, Firmino, he has a few knocks as well, he's gone, Milner's gone, so you've moved on a lot of aging players with a lot of miles on the clock, to be fair. Could I ask what happened with Caicedo? So there's been a bit of a mixed report tonight, Brennan, on Caicedo. First of all, it broke that Ben Jacobs said that an unnamed Premier League club had put in an offer to Brighton. Brighton weren't telling Caicedo who this club was, but it was above the 80 million Chelsea had offered, and it wasn't Liverpool. So that came from Ben Jacobs. Then after that, a report came on Sky Sports News that said that an unnamed Saudi Arabian side had put in an offer for Caicedo. Again, I think they said it was above the 80 million, or maybe it was at the 80 million, I don't know. So that's kind of what's going on with Caicedo. I don't know who this unnamed Premier League club that Ben Jacobs was on about is. There was another outlet that said it was Liverpool. Don't believe that, if I'm being honest. Do you blame Jurgen Klopp? Well, he's part of the failure. Aman, yes. Yes. Like, I can't sit here with a clear conscience and say that Jurgen Klopp telling us that we were like kids who wanted a Ferrari at Christmas, or that his insistence on us not needing a midfielder didn't cause some of this problem. I can't do that because it was nonsense. He was wrong. He admitted he was wrong at the end. We ended up with Arthur Melo. That's no good to anyone. So I don't remove Klopp of any blame. He certainly is part of it because we want him to speak up more. But he seems to be happy to toe the company line at times with the owners, and you know, it's up to each of us how we feel about that, I guess. But yeah, Klopp isn't above reproach. Craig, where and when did you get your tattoos? Was it painful? Quite a while ago now. I think I haven't had any tattoos done in about 6 or 7 years. So I never got a tattoo till after my father died because he didn't like tattoos. And, you know, I didn't want to disrespect him when he was alive. So when my father passed away, I got my first tattoo after that. And were they painful? Some of them, yes. Some of them quite relaxing, in all honesty. But yeah, they're one of these things that once you get them, you know, a lot of people, very rarely people get one. You know, my wife even ended up getting a sleeve, and she said that she was done with tattoos when she was 26, but she ended up getting a sleeve when she was 40. So, yeah. 75 million plus the Ox for Caicedo. How could we be offering somebody that we don't own? Oxlade-Chamberlain's on a free deal, mate. He can go wherever he wants, and he's speaking with, I want to say it was Besiktas. I know one of the Turkish team's senior executives was in London for a meeting with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I think it was Besiktas, but it could have been Fenerbahce. It definitely wasn't Galatasaray anyway. Any LFC tattoos? Sort of. I've one on my leg that's a play or a take on the Owen McVeigh Foundation banner, but it's about autism and me and my son. So I guess sort of. Thoughts on Liverpool's final bid for Lavia? I'd love to know what the number is, because Harley, I truly don't know what the bid is. Sasha Tavolieri, you know, reading what he said, seems to think that Liverpool will offer at least the 40 as a guaranteed amount, and then some add-ons. But, you know, I know the third bid is coming in, but I don't know what the number is. Who would be your dream signing for the remainder of the window? Dream signing, Barella. Yeah, Barella. Barella could help a lot, but it won't happen. Tchouaméni, Valverde. I mean, Lavia we need to get done at this point. Trying to think of centre backs, because realistically, the two options, the two best fits for us were Gvardiol and Colwill. And for different reasons, we ain't getting either of them. One of them's going to Man City, one of them looks like he's staying at Chelsea. So at this point, I don't know. But I shouldn't know. The club should definitely know, because who the fuck were they looking at? If it was Inacio, he's still sitting there. If it was Silva at Benfica, he's still sitting there. If it was Per Schurz, guess what? He's still sitting there. If it was Mickey van de Ven, still sitting there. So I don't know. I'm very confused by it. A lot of people saying theirs would be Caicedo. My problem with us potentially signing Caicedo, because he's a great player. Of course he is. But you know he's going to twerk as soon as somebody else comes in for him. Like, I would have no surprise whatsoever if we had Caicedo at Liverpool and in a year's time a Saudi clubs come in and offer him shit money, like mad money, and he just goes, yeah, bye-bye Liverpool, I'm twerking my way over to Saudi. Because he does it for everyone. He did it for Chelsea, he did it for Arsenal. I'm sure he'd do it for Real Madrid if he was at Liverpool and Madrid decided they want them. So I would never trust that Caicedo has really bought into the project. That's my problem with Liverpool signing Caicedo. I'd always worry that he's one offer away from kicking up a fuss and wanting to get out. Untitled 2020 said Klopp spent in 7 years what Ten Hag spent in one. Yeah, I know, and United haven't got money. Isn't that funny? Like, United haven't got money to spend, but yeah, Eric Ten Hag's already outspending Klopp. Um, you've got to laugh at times because it's so embarrassing. Thoughts on Luis Avila? I'm sure Douglas Luiz signed a new contract after the interest from Liverpool and Arsenal in him. If I'm not mistaken, I'm sure he signed a new deal. So I don't know after that. Look, I would have taken him last January when we were up a certain creek without a paddle. But not now. Not when we've had a whole year to figure out who we need to bring in. Nah. What do you think about the new offside rule coming in? So I'm recording a video. I'm recording a series of videos tomorrow on potential rule changes in football. So I will have those out over the weekend. So I'll cover that subject then, if that's all right. Would you take Andre or Lavia or both? Well, I mean, I'd love to say both because that would give us the numbers we need in midfield. And clearly they're two players Liverpool are looking at. So yeah, get both. Or get Lavia and Thuram. Or get Lavia and have a look at what's going on with Kone. Or whatever. Like there's options. But again, we're sitting on our hands. You reckon we get Lavia by the end of the week? Look, I reckon if the offer really is 40 million plus, let's say, 5 in add-ons, that gets it done, in my opinion. But I don't know the exact amount of the offer. So until I guess we get a confirmation on what that offer entails, I think that will get it done with Southampton. I do. Because they're going to get more than they may have gotten next summer if Manchester City came back in and triggered that buyback clause. Now, interestingly, Manchester City have a 20% sell-on clause on Lavia, so I guess Southampton would have to take that into account as well. Liverpool leapfrog Bayern from stunning Real Madrid raid as Carlo Ancelotti clears deck for Mbappe. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier on about Tchouaméni, that apparently he is available if Madrid have to move somebody on for basically what they paid for him. Thanks for making us smile every day, mate. Oh, Jack, that's lovely of you, dude. Thank you. Do you know what? Honestly, I'm going to be relieved when all this window's over and we can get back to concentrating on football. Because as football fans now, it's getting weird. Like, we have to be human rights experts. We have to be sexual assault solicitors. We have to be football finance geniuses. We have to be scouts. Why can't we just enjoy football? You know? All the crap that we have to put up with because our owners are cheap is just... It's just weird. And I want to just enjoy Liverpool Football Club and not have this headache of feeling like we have to kick up a fuss or we have to, embarrass the owners into doing the bare minimum. Is Kwanzaa a left footer? No, not that I remember. I'm trying to think of the long crossfield ball he played to Salah the other day, and I'm almost certain he hit it with his right foot. Who do you want midfield besides Lavia? See, it's difficult to answer because I don't know what style of midfielder Klopp wants if he gets Lavia. Like, does he want another number 6? Or does he want another young midfielder like Thuram? Or does he want somebody with a bit more experience to cover the experience we're losing from Fabinho and Henderson? So it's a really difficult question to answer, Bob. If I was in Klopp's position, I'd want somebody to come in about 26, 27. Get Lavia and then bring somebody in who's a central midfielder, who's been there, done it, and fancies a move to the Premier League and is, an established international. Look, I'm thinking about your Barellas, your Frankie de Jongs. They're the type of players I'd be thinking of. Could you go after Gleison Bramer? I swear we were linked to him before, Kingsmano. Swear we were linked to him before. Was he the dude that was at Torino? Is McAllister injured? No, thankfully it looks like it was just a knock, mate. And look, we were all worried. I was definitely worried when he went down, but it looks like it was just a knock and he'll be all right. He did walk off the pitch at half-time, which is a good sign, but I believe he's okay. Who do you think will play as a 6 against Chelsea? Maybe Thiago. I mean, it's hard to know because the lads have been at Kirby. They've had no preseason games, Thiago or Bajcetic. If they were to get some game time against Darmstadt, would that be enough to convince Klopp that they're ready to go? I don't know. I know I don't want to see Curtis Jones playing in the 6, and not because of anything wrong with Curtis Jones. It's just that's not his position. Why don't LFC sign Sangara Fofana? Did Fofana not go off to Saudi? I mean, there's a lot of players went from the French league and stuff, and I'm probably a bit confused, but was he not one of the ones that went? Sangara was still a PSV, and I've not seen a link to him, but was Fofana not the one that went off to Saudi, no? When is the Anfield Agenda relaunch? So, for the last pre-season game, next Monday, we'll be unveiling a whole new look Anfield Agenda. New camera, new graphics, all ready to go for the new season. And we're going to use the last pre-season friendly as, I guess, the way to launch. So, next Monday. Any news on Connor Bradley? It was just a niggle and nothing to really stress about. He's going to sign that 3-year deal if he hasn't already signed it, which is great news and very well deserved for him. So, nothing new or nothing worrying that I've heard on Connor Bradley. Start, bench, sell, Konate, Matip, Gomez. See, it's a tough question to answer because Matip's not going to bring you in much money because of his age and because he's got less than a year left now on his deal. Gomez is the answer to sell, but you got youth on your side with him. So, to answer your question, because I don't want to pussy out giving you an answer, start Konate, obviously. I'd bench Matip and sell Gomez if I had to go from your list. Because I think Gomez would at least bring you in a significant amount of money. And we've protected his value by giving him a new deal. Bring back the throwing coach. Is that what you're saying, Dean? He left, actually, didn't he, the throwing coach? Look, friends, I feel like we're going around in circles. So I'm going to say goodnight. And I'm going to record a video now on the Shoe Many stuff and a few other bits and pieces that will be going straight up on the channel. So If you've joined us late or you haven't got to catch up on everything, don't worry. I'll be covering it over the next 15, 20 minutes, and that should be up before 10 o'clock. Other than that, I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, 8:30 for... it'll be the last bit of live content we do actually till Sunday, because Friday, we've got the live show in Dublin, and on Saturday, we're going out for dinner with some of the people who've travelled over for the live show. So no live content. Tomorrow will be the last one until Sunday. But we will have videos ready for the weekend and stuff like that as well. So, look, thank you so much, everyone who joined us tonight. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so. You can still get your tips of this stream. But most importantly, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for giving up your time. And I hope you're all well. Much love. And I will catch you tomorrow. Oh, last super chat before we go. We're just fans with no powers. Nothing to FSG, said Untitled 2020. Unfortunately, buddy, yeah. But maybe if we kick up enough of a fuss, maybe if we embarrass them because they don't like bad PR, then maybe we've a hope. But look, talk to you tomorrow, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.